Yeah, that CEO of Landmark Capital is David Fischer, and he joins us every Monday to discuss the workings of the markets and the moving of the money and what is happening in global economy, because that is part and parcel to what you're going to see happen with your investments and your retirement and your stewardship and the things that you're trying to do to be wise with your money. So it's a joy to have him with us every Monday, and we're grateful to have him. David Fischer, welcome back. Good to have you with us.
It's my pleasure, as always, to be on your program today.
Let's talk about the stock market from Friday. It moved down. More tariffs are being forecasted. We may see some movement upwards today and this week, but no one can know for sure. What's going on here?
Well, on Friday, President Trump tweeted that he authorized more doubling of tariffs on steel and aluminum, specifically targeting what's happening in the country of Turkey, because he cited relationships with Turkey not being so good right now at this time. I don't know if most of the viewers know, but there's a pastor out of North Carolina that has lived in Turkey for the last 23 years, and in 2016, he was accused by the Turkish government of plotting a plan to dethrone or help dethrone the president over there in Turkey.
Right.
Also, others were involved, but this is all false accusations. He's been thrown in prison, and the president and the vice president have been working with Turkey officials trying to get him to be released, and finally President Trump is saying, okay, you're not listening, and he put into effect these tariffs, and the market just totally slid down in Turkey. Their currency has taken a beating. Specifically, in a week, it's gone down 22%, in a month, 36%, and year-to-date, down 80%. It's the 17th largest economy in the world. But President Trump is not playing around. He wants this pastor to be released, and he also is not going to deal with the relationship that Turkey has with Iran anymore.
Yeah, and I kind of cheer all that. So I'm hoping that it's successful. And our colleague Jay Sekulow is working very hard with his American Center for Law and Justice on helping that situation, and continues to. And if people listen to his show, you'll get, of course, much more in-depth details on that pastor situation. Let me ask you this. Are we going to have volatility in the markets moving forward? Like, where do you see through the end of this year in terms of market action? Are we just going to ride this kind of roller coaster up and down through the end of 2018?
Well, I think the high and the low of the roller coaster is getting more tighter. It's the highs and lows are not as pronounced. Looking what just happened here recently, obviously that's the case. The market didn't tumble hundreds of points, and down less than 100, and it's not up hundreds of points, so the volatility is down. It did cause a sell-off in Europe and the Asian markets. They took a beating. The dollar did move up significantly because of this. That was the flight to quality. So I think we're going to still see some volatility moving on towards the end of the year, but it's not going to be as significant as it was the first 6 months of this year.
Very interesting. Well, what about the trade war? Where does that end up landing? Experts that I've talked to that, on both sides say that his window of time is only X number of months before it starts to have a, degenerative effect on our economy. What's your feeling on that?
Well, one thing that's going on with the trade wars is the reaction that Turkey had is they sold $10 billion in their currency, they injected $10 billion in their currency into their economy. They sold $6 billion of dollars and $3 billion of gold. The trade war it's having somewhat an effect on the dollar moving up. So it depends on what yardstick we use. If you use the yardstick of the stock market, stocks are up 6% in our markets, but globally they're pretty much down the opposite, 6%. The dollar's up strong while most of the currencies are down that yardstick. If you look at the GDP, it's up 4%. I mean, that's just incredible. If you look at unemployment, it's down. But if you look at job creation, or job loss, it's not a very good yardstick to use because the tariffs are affecting that negatively in the United States, and the debt of our country has ballooned because of the tax spending bill that was given to Americans, but the deficit is growing because the dollar is growing significantly because of a flight to quality. So we're going to see a trade deficit increase. So it just depends on what yardstick you use. It's too early in the whole scheme of things to see if tariffs are actually working or not. But so far, most of the tariffs that are being put into place are helping America in most areas, but not all the areas yet.
Okay. Well, we'll continue to watch that. You mentioned that Turkey sold off gold. How did that affect the metals market?
Well, it pulled back a little bit, $10. Not a big downturn. It's around $1,210 today. The biggest, gold should have gone down a lot more in reference to that. So it's the gold market is still strong. It reminds me of 1999 when a lot of people were talking negative about it, but that was the very bottom of the market and the time to be buying into the gold market. We're going to see a turnaround when something becomes too expensive, like the dollar is right now at 96, the index. You're going to see a turnaround, and that's when you're going to see gold move up when it's too cheap right now.
Gotcha. We're speaking with David Fischer, who is the head of Landmark Capital. And, friends, they've got a ton of gifts for you if you call and simply request them, including the new newsletter, which talks about David's predictions, the ones that have come to pass and the ones that he is making for these next few months. That's absolutely free if you call 844-604-2575. But do one better. Get the Financial Survival Guide for 2018. It's a gift packet of nearly $200 worth of value, but you get all the white papers, you get a subscription to the newsletter, and there are some other goodies in there that you'll appreciate as well. So call them today and talk to David's people. If this is the way the economy is going, it's not a bad time to start talking about diversification and protecting yourself against different areas that are hedging one way or the other, and David's team is expert on helping you understand that. 844-604-2575, 844-604-2575. David Fischer, thank you so much. Kevin McCullough Radio, coming right back.